We are taught from a young age that the sky is a silent place. We look up at the vast, inky canvas of the night, and we see the stars burning in cold, distant muteness. When a shooting star streaks across the dark, we make a wish, treating it like a silent coin tossed into a cosmic fountain. But this is a lie, born of distance. The universe is not silent. It is deafeningly loud with history, with creation, and with endings. It is just that we are too far away, or perhaps too afraid to hear it. But high in the jagged peaks of the mountains of the thin air, where the oxygen is scarce and the snow never melts, there is a tower built not to look, but to listen. This is the story of the sound that breaks the heart of the sky. This is the story of what happens when a star finally lets go. The Observatory of Echoes does not have a telescope. Instead, it is crowned with massive, intricate funnels made of beaten brass and copper, looking like the trumpets of giant buried angels. These acoustic locators turn constantly, greased with oil that smells of cloves and ozone, tracking the invisible arcs of the celestial bodies. The wind here screams during the day, but at night, the silence is so profound it feels like a physical weight pressing against your eardrums. In this silence, the listener works. He is a man who has forgotten the sound of his own name because he has spent 50 years training his ears to pick up frequencies that would drive a normal person to madness. He wears thick layers of fur and wool, moving across the wooden floorboards and socks to avoid creating a single unnecessary vibration. Most people believe that stars fall because of gravity, or physics, or orbital decay. The listener knows the truth. Stars fall because they are heavy. Imagine hanging in the void for billions of years, watching the worlds below you turn. You watch civilizations rise from the mud, build empires of stone and steel, and then burn themselves to ash. You watch lovers meet in secret gardens and soldiers die in lonely trenches. You watch the first breath of a child and the last breath of a king. The stars see it all, and unlike us, they cannot forget. They absorb the memories of the universe. They collect the weight of every joy and every tragedy they witness. Eventually, the burden becomes too great. The gravity of memory pulls them down. They do not fall because they are dying. They fall because they are tired. They fall because they need to rest. The listener's job is not to catch them. His job is to record their eulogies. Every star has a unique frequency, a song composed of the things it watched. A red dwarf that watched a planet of endless war will hum with a low, chaotic vibration, like a cello played with a saw. A blue giant that watched a world of ice and silence will sing a high, crystalline note that sounds like a finger running around the rim of a wine glass. The listener sits at his desk, surrounded by wax cylinders and brass needles, waiting for the signal. He knows that when a star falls, the sound it makes upon entering the atmosphere is not a roar of fire. It is a sigh. It is the sound of a heavy coat being dropped onto a floor after a long, hard winter day. There was one night, the night of the silver rain, that the listener remembers above all others. The sky was clear, a dome of polished obsidian. The brass trumpets on the roof began to vibrate, not with a single note, but with a harmony. A constellation was collapsing. It was a cluster of 7 stars, known in the old maps as the Sisters of Sorrow. They had hung together since the dawn of time, watching over the oceans of the world. But the oceans had become full of plastic and grief, and the sisters could no longer bear the sight. One by one, they let go. The listener rushed to his equipment. The sound that came through the amplifiers was not like anything he had heard before. It started as a whisper, soft as silk sliding over stone. Then, as the first star hit the upper atmosphere, the sound changed. It became a chime, a deep, resonant bell tone that seemed to come from underwater. It was the sound of relief. Then the second star fell, adding a harmony to the first. Then the third. The air in the observatory grew cold, not with frost, but with a strange, holy chill. The listener wept, not out of sadness, but because the beauty of the sound was physically painful. It was a song of total release. It was the sound of 7 ancient beings saying, "It is enough. We have seen enough." He watched through the small window as the streaks of light painted the snow outside in flashes of magnesium white and sorrowful blue. Most of the world slept through it. Down in the valleys, people might have woken up for a second, feeling a sudden wave of unexplainable peace, or a sudden urge to call someone they hadn't spoken to in years. They didn't know that the sky was singing them a lullaby made of abdication. They didn't know that the stars were dying so that the night could be new again. When the last of the sisters fell, the silence that returned to the mountain was different. It was lighter. The listener wiped his eyes and carefully removed the wax cylinder from the recorder. He labeled it simply, "The Sisters, 3 a.m." He placed it on a shelf lined with thousands of others. This is the Library of the Fallen. This is the Graveyard of Light. He brewed a cup of tea, the steam rising in the freezing room, and sat back in his chair. He felt a profound kinship with the things above. He, too, was a watcher. He, too, was full of memories that were not his own. We often look at falling stars and think of them as tragic. We think of the darkness that follows their extinction. But the listener understands the secret mechanism of the cosmos. When a star falls, it does not vanish. It shatters into dust, stardust. And that dust settles on the fields, on the oceans, on the roofs of our houses. It enters the soil and becomes the wheat that makes our bread. It enters the water and becomes the rain that fills our cups. We are eating the memories of the stars. We are drinking their history. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your soul. It all came from a star that fell because it was too heavy to stay in the sky. So, the sound of a star falling is not a death knell. It is the sound of a gift being opened. It is the universe recycling its wisdom. The next time you see a streak of light cut through the dark, do not just make a wish for yourself. Stop. Close your eyes. Ignore the noise of the traffic, the hum of the refrigerator, the chatter of the television. Listen with your inner ear. Try to catch that faint, impossible frequency. It might sound like a glass bell, or a sigh, or the last note of a violin. It is the sound of something ancient letting go of its burden so that you can pick it up. It is the sky telling you that it is okay to rest. It is okay to be heavy, because eventually, we all have to fall to become part of something new.